Hi guys, it's been a long time, hasn't it? Between COVID and then of course my arms, we couldn't do much. So finally we got time to do the video on the Austin Healing Guard. And what we're going to do is go through a couple of things first before we start, so you can understand my actions when I do it. So let's start off with the paper pattern here. Here's our paper pattern, and it's simply laid down with a couple of magnets, but I taped the tucks. And what we got here, we got the black line represent the middle of this radius. And as you can see, it changes somewhat from that thickness, and it goes a little bit wider, and then it narrows back out again. But the tucks, as you can see, are fairly short. They're not a big tuck. We might have to use the tuck iron here. If not, we block them and we shrink them down that way. Then of course we got our blend, and we got our flatter surface here. So I'm gonna get the camera to go around so you can see the layout of this pattern. We start from this end. Okay, there's our weld, and as I said, there's your tuck. I'll get the cameraman to go around and show all this, all the way around. Okay, now, I'm now going to go to the blank, and even though it's a different color because I run out of color pencils, I'll show you the same thing on the blank. By the way, there's our patterns or our profiles, all our profiles, and now back to the blank. Okay, so here's our blanks. It's already cut, and as you can see, we've got our center of our radius. We got our flatter place here, so we've got to be very careful of that. We got our patterns or profiles, and it's cut to a fairly short side. There's not too much extra material, a little bit, but not much. And in a minute, I'll show you the procedure to start this particular panel, because a lot of people will say that it doesn't matter what it looks like at the beginning, but it's not so. Is what you do at the beginning that determines how good this panel is going to be and how much you're going to fight it to get it right. Okay, now we're going to take the magnets out, and we're going to try to lift this without taking the tape out, so you can see the shape of the actually mud guard. Having said that, eventually we're going to take the tucks out and clean up the pattern. Okay, let's go. Okay, here we go, and we're going to show you, going to come around, excuse my back, and we're going to show you the guard at that point. But of course, you can't cut the blank like that. It's impossible. It gives you no indication of the total shape. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the tucks out and straighten up the pattern, so I can put it on the blank. We'll take the tape out, Neil. So that's our pattern up and up. You then must clean up the edges and lay it on the blank and literally mark all that, like I just showed you before on the blank. As you can see, now here's our mudguard, there's our pattern, and we got every line plus the profiles marked here and marked there. Now what I'm going to do is going to get the profiles and put them on the mudguard, because obviously I'm going to use those profiles to put it on that blank. We start off with B1. This particular pattern here suits both of these. So we have B2 and C1. So B2 sits under here, also fits that. Then we have 1A there. We have 2A, you can put them together, and we have 3A. Now as you can see, I've got them this end and this end. In this case it is to the edges. Just check that again, you'll see what I mean. I'm right on the edges, which will tell me how much extra material I've got and how much to cut later on. We also have this pattern, lower bottom, and that goes right there. Again, finish at the edge and finishes at that edge. Okay, down here we've got the pattern for the front. Same idea, same line that we got on the rear guard, and that'll be possibly next segment for this part here, which obviously gets welded to the rest of the guard. And down here we got the tools that we're possibly going to use. We start off with our blocking hammer for the heavy tuck. We've got various hammers there, various planishing hammers. We've got a small blocking hammer. We've got a couple of dollies for different shapes. We got our tuck iron and our mallets. Some heavy, some light, depends on what I'm doing. You'll see how I use them and when I use them. Okay, here we got our strinking machines. We probably won't use it, but in case we need to do some touch up, it's here ready to go. And when I mean touch up is if I've got a little loose edge that I want to tie it up, I just put on the strinking machine and give it a tab. And we got our mandrel to close the tucks if we make them with the tucking fork. So I got my blocking hammer, and believe me, I can probably just do a bit of blocking here for a while, and then I'll have to stop. And Neil here, that you will give me a hand blocking, because I don't think my arms are gonna cope with you know, an hour blocking or 3/4 of an hour, whatever it takes. So when my shoulders start to hurt, I'll get Neil to take over for a little while. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this down for a minute, and I want to explain something on this blank. As I said before, as I mentioned before, a lot of people would just go bang, bang, bang here and everywhere. Well, Yes and no, meaning that you want to keep this panel under control at all time. You don't want it to twist, to buck, to do all sorts of funny things, because it's only going to make things harder for you. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but it's just going to make things harder for you. So, I'm going to go through a couple of things that I do in order to have full control of this panel when I'm blocking it. Because as you know, when you start blocking, you're putting stress into the panel. So there's ways to do it. So the theory of block it anywhere because it doesn't matter at the beginning, it is not truth. It's possibly the secret of having a successful panel. So the first thing I'm going to do, as you can see, I have the blocking size so I don't make the left hand or the right hand, and all lines are the same. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to break this panel a little bit this way, just very slightly. I'm going to break it that way, not too much. When I say not too much, is because if you bend it too far, then it will start to go hollow immediately because this edge is long. So you just want to break it up a little bit, okay? And what I'm going to do, instead of blocking it immediately and start putting stress on it, I'm going to put it on the hammer and come through the middle of the radius a little bit. So I'm going to set up the DNA, if you want to call it, of this shoulder, because at the end of the day, if this shoulder is not right, nothing else will be. I'll give you an example. If I don't block and shrink enough here, this will always look hollow. It'll put a hollow here, and no matter what you do, it'll always be hollow. So the idea is to get that spine, if you call it, that spine there between the tucks and the blocking, to get it coming over and staying like this every time. You can't have it turning in, turning out, turning over, or whatever. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about when I do, and I'll explain, if it gets out of hand, I'll explain why it's going out of hand, so you don't do the same mistake. Okay, so now I'm going to go on the hammer, as I said before, and I'm going to break this line, but I am not trying to get it over, because what happens is, if you're trying to get it over, this edge is long, and by going over, the panel will go hollow. Right, earplugs, because I'm deaf enough as it is. And you're probably going to hear the compressor. I'll see if the cameraman can slow down the volume a little bit so that it doesn't get too noisy for you. We're going to start. Okay, here's my panel. I'm going to keep it as flat as I can. We've got a fairly flat die in there. I don't want it too full too quick, and I'm going to run across. You'll probably see me coming across a little bit through here as well, because obviously as that comes up, that will go to hollow, and we all know that. So I'll do the yellow line, you could say, first, and very lightly come into here to keep that from going hollow. Okay, here we go. As you can see here, I'm concentrating on the yellow line, and I'm coming across here but not on the flat part yet. It is not hollow yet, so I'm not going to do anything there. So you can probably see the blows through here. I'm going to come up a little bit more because remember, on the pattern, it shows that the shrinks or the tucks are only about to here. So there's no need of stretching it too much here because you're going to have to shrink it anyway. So I'm going to show you again later. I'm most probably going to clean this up after. Mind you, this is only here for you guys to see. I know exactly what's going to have to happen, but I figured that if I put some lines in there, you can understand better. For the beginners, you can understand better what's going on. But eventually, I will probably take these out. Okay, so what you saw me doing is blocking this or planishing here, but I kept my eyes on this area. If I see that it's going hollow, I touched it up, and as you can see, I'm going to put it sideways. We got some shape that way, and we are still totally in control. Now, if you haven't got a hammer, you can use a wheel. The only reason why I don't use a wheel at the moment is because I can't extend my arms too much with the weight. Not yet. I'll come good. And this is a lot better for me, although I do have to do some wheeling. Now at this point, the sheet is ready to be blocked and to tuck. Block and tuck. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay, as you can see here, this line already started to go that way, but it's not over yet. And I mentioned before, you don't want it to go over, because if it was over too far now, this will be hollow, because that's long. So here we go, we got the shape, and we are ready to block. I will block tightly here, but as I come across here, I go a little bit wider because the shoulder here is broader than the shoulder up there. So now I'm going to change the camera position and I'm going to do some blocking. So another thing I'm going to do and show you is that I'm going to do the blocking over the distance, over the length of the shoulder. In other words, I'm creating the shoulder, and the panel here, it's going to be coming over and any shrinks that occurs or any tuck that occurs, I'm going to leave it for the time being. I don't have to close them down. I just want to block enough, because sometimes if you do the tucks too early, you could go too far or not enough or whatever. So if I can create the tucks by coming over here and leave them, I can then determine which one's got to go further or which one's got to be less, if you can understand what I mean. Okay, chances are that I might have to use the puckering iron here, just there, just to bring this, well, to keep this that way, because it's got a little bit of roundness this way as well. So I'd have to shrink across here. But we start here, and here we go. As it's just mentioned, I'm not taking this over yet. I need to form some material there, bring it up a little bit, all over actually, and keep this flat, not under. See, at the moment it's gone under a little bit there. That's the first thing I got to take care of, because that would help that. Another thing to practice is, as they coming up, even though they look like puckers, but see they're coming up too far, you want to bring them back a bit, just a touch, like so. Not too much, just bring them back a bit. Our tuck's still here, but they just laying back a bit, because if you keep going, you're going to change that shape. It's going to come over too far. Okay, time to go on the floor now and stand on it. So you see it start to go, it start to be what not meant to be. It is all over the place. So I'm going to put it on the ground and straighten it back to how it was. Okay, that's definitely what we don't want. Okay, have a look at it. So I'm going to put my hand there, my foot in there, sorry, and I'm going to Open that up. Okay, now I can tell you now that apart from getting hollow here, which I'll take care in a minute, it's not, well, I can put the gauge on, but I can see that it's no. I'll be putting the gauge a little bit later on, but it is not right. You need to look at it. This needs to come up, and then needs to be blocked down or released through here. So we need a little bit more here before we take that over. As you can see, it's now telling me that this is going too far over too quick, and yet I haven't done the pucks yet. So you can imagine what's going to happen if I take them in. It's just going to bend it too far, which in turn is going to put a hollow through there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try to turn it without taking the tucks in, and that will straighten it. So what I want you to do is to look at that now, from here to there, and have a look at it in a few seconds. As you can see, I've taken this over. It has straightened the panel somewhat, and it also taken the hollow out of here. Okay? Now before, how it was going around too far, it was putting a hollow through here. So now I put the shoulders there a little bit, and now is the time that I only take, like the pattern says to me, take these tucks down up to here. We'll do that now on the block of wood. All right, we do some tuck shrinking now, some touching up and some tuck shrinking, and then we'll see with the gauge where we at. As you can see, I'm getting around them, closing them up a little bit, block just before them, exactly like the paper pattern tells me. So block a little bit here. And if I need any more, if I need more shrinks, I'll just cut on the bag, hit it again, and re-shrink it. Matter of fact, I might do that just right now. Let me explain something about tuck shrinking. I've heard somewhere, can't remember where, that when you do got a tuck shrink like that, you need to have space between the end of the shrinks and work your way out. Well, that's not true, because if you got a tuck like so, and I'll show you, you can see the tuck forming there, whether it forms this way or that way, it doesn't matter. But if you go on nothing, as you hit that there, that will open up. It's common sense. If there's nothing under there, as you hit it again, it will just simply open up. You need to have wood or whatever underneath so you can close the tuck in, then work your way out, like so. On the wood, lock it in like I just did then, and then come out. You can see the edge shrinking. See here? Same thing here. Give it a hit. Guard on the wood. Close it in. And there you go. Going on a empty here, or have here space underneath it, not going to do anything for you. It's only going to open it back up. So you realistically, you might be doing some shrinking, but it's not effective. Not effective as it should be. I'll give you a good example here. Okay, let me check the gauge first before I do any more. Just a second. This point here is B1. So what do we need to do now? We need to know where we're at. So we turn it around and we put B1 in there. And you can see, okay, what you can see here is that this edge needs to go up a little bit more. See there? And it needs to come out. There's enough shrinkage done there. I just proved it, look. So, in order to, because this is short now, if I block it here, or touch it up, that'll go home. And I'll prove that right now. See that? See the hollow there that I put my finger on it right there? See that's touching there? Right there? Well, watch, we're only a couple of blows, just watch. Okay, let's put the pattern back on again and see where we're at. Bingo. Rough, yes, but it's there. See? It's there. All that needs is to go back on the wood now with the blocking hammer and clean it all up. Not on the wheel already. If you go on the wheel now, it's too soon. You're going to put stress and you're going to wheel in the wrong place and you're going to make it too full or whatever. Do not go on the wheel yet. You're not ready to go on the wheel yet. So again, I'm going to show you this area just by literally going on the block of wood with the blocking hammer. And of course I'm molding this now because I don't want it to come up anymore. So as you can see, I'm molding. I got my gut here, I got my hand there, and I'm just okay. It's obvious to me that that's too far down. That needs to come up the same. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna block it here, lift this up, shrink it, and plunish it, if you can call it. Plunish it with that like that. So gonna go on the wood there, gonna take that down. You do a little bit at a time. You don't go mental and lose the shape of the panel. Now, if you can't do it by hand, just put it on the ground. I'm going to show you in a minute, and I'm going to take that twist out of it, so this will come up. See how this is laying down? Well, not necessarily needs more strength. Watch. When I do that, can you see that coming up? See that? So that's what I need to do. Put it on the ground and stand on the damn thing. There we go. Here you go, guys, have a look at it. Okay, let's have a look what the pattern says. We're working on B1. Now we're going to go on B2 and C1 and see where we are at. There's C1, B2. Obviously, that needs to come down right there. Okay, it so happened that here is this where this line starts, and I'm going to go around the mudguard and show you exactly what I mean. So come over here and I'll show you. B2 tells me that this part needs to go down, but there's a sharp line there. So what are we going to do? Now it's up to the individual if you want to hand it there, cut that piece and make that piece, which you then you'd have to still make that piece, you still have to line it all up, you'll have to tack it, weld it, plunish it, blah, blah, blah. But you can make that now by only using the small blocking hammer, and I'll show you exactly what needs to happen. You see this coming straight down? Did you see that shape there? And you will see the line. Okay, let's go back on our blank now and let's do that. When I say do that, let's form it. It's not finished yet. We might have to do a little bit of panel beating by hand, and that's what I got my hammer and dollies there. But let's form this. We form it to C1, B2 and C1. Okay, back again here, B2, see that? And C1, same thing. So how we do this? Simple. Before I start, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to block with this hammer through here. I'm going to bring that down, but I'm going to put a hollow there. So keep that in mind. Again, don't do too much too quick. Keep it very simple. I'm going to block into that line now from the other side, use my other blocking hammer and fill this in and correct all that. Okay, so I'm going to put the bag back on the block and we go again. What I should have mentioned as well, as you can see here, prior to reblock it, I've done some stringings. The string that I've done here is only to help this panel coming forward, because again, that's short. The minute I touch it through here, that'll come forward a lot quicker. Okay, if I need to shrink it some more, I will on the shrinking machine. If not, I'm just gonna planish it out. But again, in order to have the blocking here without drawing too much there, I put some strings in here. It helps pushing it in. I'm going to put a little bit of shape here with the big blocking hammer, just a little bit, just to help it. So I'll recapture, shrinking here a little bit, trying to push this line this way and minimize the hollow that happens here. We still got some hollows, and I'm going to touch it up with the hammer. And now, of course, is time to put these gauges and see whether we need to go back or we need to go forward. Okay, we're going to check the gauge and see where we're at. We need B2. Okay, we need to come in a little bit more. And I would dare say that C1 is the same, exactly the same. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to use the hammer and dolly now, and I'm going to put the dolly here, and with the hammer I'm going to take that down. Two things will happen. That shape there, which holds that out, it's going to come into here, and I'll fix that problem all at once. I just get Neil to hold it rather than put the bag. And you can put a bag if you want to, and I'm going to fix this problem up here with a hammer and dolly. Again, I'll stress the point, hammer and dolly through here, bring that in and puff that up. Come in a little more, there we go. Okay, here we go. As you can see, I'm not particularly worried at the minute about the hammer marks or whatever, because what's going to happen, you've got two choices. You can reopen this, reopen it, and wheel it, then close it with by using a chaser, a wooden chaser that is. You don't want to be tearing through here. Or you could do a bit of ham and dolly. Ham and dolly through here and flip it all up through here, and then continue on with the wheel. So it's up to the individual what he wants to do. I recapture, open it right up, wheel it smooth, use a wooden chaser on the bag and take it back down, or hammer and dolly it. So now I'll check the gauge. Okay, as you can see, a little bit more. Okay, not much more, a little bit more. So literally, and that, believe it or not, will help put in some sort of swelling through here, as you can see. See, it's coming good, nicely. I need to stress also the point that I'm just shaping at the moment. I am not smoothing off. Forget your wheel, forget your smoothing off. You're only going to get into trouble. A little bit more through there, and a touch through there still. Good enough for the time being. Not quite there yet, but as I said, there's a bit of smoothing to do here and through here, and by that time, that'll be over. Okay, now, as you can see here, we've got the panel that is, it's not what we call a straight, but, okay, there she's there. There's a bit of tension there. This edge is only out like that because there needs more shape here. Okay, so you go on the wheel later, not now, and you wheel in that fashion, little bit. Don't do it too much because you don't want to be curling that too far in, so you need a little bit of wheeling this way and a little bit of wheeling that way. And I'll show you after how it's done, but what I want to do now, my arms will start to hurt. I'm going to get Neil to, on the block, do a minimal blocking through here, just literally do a bit of blocking through here, a little bit more shrinking through here, a little bit of blending through here, and get this all looking like it should. Having said that, you might have noticed something, you might have not noticed it, but I'm well aware of it, well aware. So let's go on the other mudguard, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, because you might not have picked it up, but as I said, I'm well aware of it. When I put the gauge, this gauge on here, this goes on the edge, and then you need more material to turn it, yeah? You obviously need the material down there to go under where it bolts on, okay? If you look at it on mine, I'm at the edge of the panel. So you might say, hang on, what about that metal? Well, no problem, because all you need to do is to extend your blocking and your wheeling so the pattern comes up here, and all of a sudden you got your extra material. And I'll show you what I mean on the blank. So now, as I mentioned before, I've got the pattern here, and as you can see, there's no metal. But if I bring the pattern here and have that extra material to be turned under, all I need to do is to put some more shape into here, which is easily done. You just block it. That's short. By blocking it here, that'll automatically go around, and you fill it in until your gauge gives you enough metal through here. I hope I'm clear. I go again. I'm down here now. The pattern looks fairly close, but I want to be here. But at this point, by blocking a little bit here, that'll come up and that'll go down. So as I said, I'll give that back to Neil now, because really my arm is hurting. Neil's going to touch it all up with the blocking hammer only on the wood, clean all this up, bring this up a little bit more, finish the shoulder, and get it to a point where this panel hasn't got that twist in it. Okay, Neil? What we're going to do, Neil, is I'll take this off, please, because I can't lift it. Now, what I get Neil to do, as mentioned, he's just going to go on the blocking here and on and on and on until all this, I get him to shrink all this. I'll be keeping my eyes on him. Not that I don't trust him, but, and we get it all looking somewhere near it. Okay? Yeah, Neil, go for it. Give my arm a bit of a rest. Now, while Neil's doing that, and you can get him working, I want to show you something that has been discussed on the forum about where to shrink and the right way to shrink on a particular panel. I thought I'd put that in just to clarify some things, because if you come around here, this principle here, whether the shoulder is taller or not, is the same. So come and follow me and I'll show you. You keep going there, Neil, doing a good job. Okay, I spend 1 hour on this panel, 1 hour. And as you can see, it's going right over. I got no butt, no nothing. All I know is, I know that, I've got a pattern for that, and a pattern for this. Okay, it's all in block, but the shrinking, some shrinkings happen here, not too much. Some shrinks happens here automatically when you block this part of the shape, because if you look at the pattern, that is not flat. That's got some shape there. So when you block this part, which is there, some shrinking will happen here. If it's too much, you need to stretch it a little bit. But the shrinking happens here. That will allow the metal to come around without sticking out like that. You know, bang, without exaggerating me like that. The shrinking here, well, you can't do a shrink all the way up to here, because look, it's got shape there. Why would you want to shrink it up to here, get rid of that shape, to then put the shape back on? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I'm not saying that that's wrong and this and that. All I want to do is explain to you, you would not want to shrink all the way up here, for then turning around and block it again. So what you do is, because this is a wide radius, and it goes from here to there, and there's the pattern, okay, the radius is from here to there. All you need to do is to block it, keep your eye on it, and shrink it just here. Because this is the only flat part of the dolly, of the mudguard, I'm sorry. Whether it's that long or that long, that's the only flat part. So, I am not criticizing and I'm not making any bad comments. All I'm saying to you is that it is, in a case like this, there's no need to shrink all the way up here and put the crown up here, because you'll be doing double the work. You need to, if you shrink it that far, you still need to stretch it there. So you're going back and forwards. I hope it's clear, but this is something that I thought I'd put between so you can understand what's going on. And the panel will come around. As I said, I've got a pattern of this panel coming around like that. Yes, there's more shrinking through here, but the principle is the same. You block the shoulder, as you block all this, this will pull, you shrink a little bit, keep your eyes on it. If it's too much, you run it through the wheel and you get that shape going. You then also look at it that way, because shoulder and edge must be the same, see that? And you shrink it through here. And there's your mudguard. From here, you already got your shoulder width in reason. What do? If you're going in with a sharp wheel, you will put too many lines in. If you're going with a flat wheel, you will flatten it out. So the only way that I would do this is I stand on that damn thing after marking that, wheel it in that fashion, that keeps that shape going, and then I'll close it. So let me just show you something quickly while Neil's bashing away there. How I will do it from here. As you can see, that's all blocked, cleaned up, shrunk, possibly stretch a little bit here. We got our shape, and I'll go through it again. I go through, this is only blocked, not smooth off. Have a look at that. Anything that is missing there, I will gain with the wheeling. Okay? So come over here and that's what I will do. I will go on my knees, I will open that up, like so, like so, like so, like so, like so. Okay, now I use the more adaptable wheel as possible. Wheel that in, smooth that off, close it again, like so. Okay, and then, only then, wheel it up a little bit that way. Okay, there's nothing to do with the Healey guard, but I thought I'd mention that. No criticism, just the way that I would do it to stop unnecessary work. Okay, while Neil is bashing about there, I'll show you some other work that we've done here. We got a door skin that we made and fitted. We now fit in the molds, as you can see there, we fit in the molds. If you come along here, we've got a quarter panel that we made and fitted. We're in the process of folding it all up a little bit. We have fitted the bubble bars here. We have fitted the bars. We made the lower panel. We made the boot lid and the back panel, and on and on and on. So as I said, while Neil's bashing about, we're nearly ready here to do the lead loading. Through here, through there. We already done some lead loading at the back, and I'll show you. Some lead loading through here, where the joint is. We fitted the tar light. As mentioned before, we fitted the bubble bar. I'm going to show you what I did on my own on the days of COVID, when there was nobody allowed in the shop, so I was here all by my own. Come through here and I'll show you. Come through here. I've joined this panel, welded and joined it. I've made up, come through here. I made up the reverse up the top, and the camera will turn around now from this angle and show you. Come through here, my friend. Here we go, through there. Made up this part of the, this is all one piece, as you know. This here, that is not welded yet, but there's the reverse going all the way to the end. Then we got this to still weld and set it all in. There's your headlight. This, as you know, is ready made, and we're going to go back onto this maybe in the next DVD. Then I went ahead and did all the bottom. You can remember when we did a segment on the bottom panel here. We got this bottom panel all through here. I've also made the nose piece where the grill sits in. I'll get the cameraman to go inside here and have a look, up top and bottom, and up there, right up there. And that's what I've been doing, as I said, while I could only be here on my own due to COVID. I'm going to show you while I'm here the bar from the Jag that the exhaust system rusted out and we had to replace a piece. So I'll show you a little bit of bubble bar work. Come through here. Okay. Now, this is the piece of bar for the Jaguar that we replaced, and as you can see, the exhaust had literally rusted all that out. So we've made a new piece here. You can clearly see it here. We just panel bit and we welded it through here and about there, through there. We do a bit of metal finishing here when it's ready to go, and then we get it coppered and so on and so on. Okay, now most of you already know about the Monaro quarter, but I thought this would be a good idea to show you the Monaro quarter in a very close-up. I'll leave it up to the camera to zoom in and out. There, hanging on the wall. To give you a good idea, that, as you can see, is all wheeled up and flipped up. It hasn't been filed yet. That will be the next thing I do. Just put some glue on it and spend possibly 5-6 hours with a Hammond dolly and flipper and file it all up. As I said, and I stress the point, that is not been filed. It's just finished off with a Hammond dolly and flipper. Go right up, Neil. That's it, show the top. That's it, good, done. I also want to show you another flare that I've done on a Ferrari Boxer, which has come through here. Come through here. Oh, there's some more stuff up on the wall there, right up. That's a roof of a Riley, a one-piece mudguard for an MG, and another mudguard for another MG called an MGPH up there. Come through here. Here we got a Ferrari Daytona quarter panel, which has got a bit of dust on it, been there for a few years, but you can see the amount of flare, the width of the flare, I should say. I'll see if I can get the cameraman to go from the other side so you can actually see the width of that flare, how wide it comes out. Okay. Same principle there. Further up, we got the Riley quarter panels. We got the Riley quarter panels through there. They've been there for a few years. Just bits and pieces that I've done through the years. Down here, we got a Fiat Bambino mudguard. That is a two-piece panel. You can see the joint here. Again, that's been here for probably, I don't know, 10 years. God only knows, I lost count. Down here, I think it's an Alfa Romeo quarter panel with a window. You probably won't see it very well because it's under there and it's all full of dust and rubbish, and that's about it. One more thing. We've made this mudguard and we're about to put a swage in. So what this piece of wood is the guide for our die to sit in there and put the swage right through. There's something else we're going to do when I got some time. So we worked it out of the stroke of the Pullmax. Is about, the highest stroke is probably a 1.5 mil stroke. We're going to raise this to 5 mil so we can clearly go through here, hold it against it and put the swage through there. And that's about it, really. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that I can show you, but I'm only trying to give Neil some time to finish that, just about there, actually. That's the picture of a Ferrari that I've done, oh God, possibly 20 years ago. It was a race car, replica, obviously, replica. So is this one. This is a replica as well. But you know, as I said, I'm just trying to kill some time till Neil gets going. I think I'm going to check him out now and see how we go. How you going there, Neil?
Good, good.
Okay, let's have a look. All right. Well, here we go, gentlemen, with as again, off camera, I don't want to lie to you. Neil's put just this part through the wheel a little bit, nothing much, just to take all the lumps out. Still got to do a lot of work there, a lot of cleaning. I think I'm going to take all this off now. I'll see how I go, but I think I'll take all this off now because and I'm going to put this on the mudguard, by the way, too, just to see how we're going. But we got the shoulder going, done a little bit more shrinking through here, as you can see. Just as I mentioned in the early stage, just to touch up that edge. I'm going to adjust it, clean it, inside and out. I'm sorry, but these marks are going to have to go now. But before I do that, I'll show you all the gauges and how it sits onto the mudguard. And then we go from there. After a little bit of cleaning up, I must admit I did highlight a little bit. I've done a little bit of highlight in yellow for Niels because he's still learning. And I didn't want him to go off. So I got a little bit more there, but he's done a nice job. The panel is, as you can see, have a look at it. Okay, don't forget that this has not been wheeled apart from here, a little bit here. This has all been blocked and shrunk. But as you can see, there's no twist, no mucking around. It's quite manageable. Now, what we're going to do now to see, we're going to try it on the buck or on the mudguard to see how well that fits. There might be a bit of opening up, there might be a little bit of smoothing, there might be a little bit more shrinking, I don't know, but this is, we're going to find out in a second. So follow me, no cut, follow me. And we see what you've done, Neil. Okay. Well, I'll get the cameraman to go around and have a look. We've got plenty of room, and I'll show you the gauges. They probably won't be perfect, but don't forget, we still need to open it. And we still need to wheel it and perhaps finish it all off. So let's start with 3A, which is right up here. Let's see what we had. And this time I'm going to allow around, let me make sure that's right. I'm going to allow about that much. That can still be adjusted. This is only a guide. Remember, we talked about before. So let's see what 3A tells us. Well, a bit of wheeling there, my friend, will fix that, no problem. We'll try 2A. A little bit tight there, but I can open that up by wheeling it, and that'll come quite good. Again, I'll stress the point. As you can see, this is only blocked. No smoothing off. I'm going to try it 1A now. This is probably the most difficult one. Yeah, it's got potential. A little bit of down here, a bit of wheeling through here, and fill it in a little bit here, or perhaps just tap it down there. That'll spread it out, put the shape in, and that'll fit quite nicely. This part here can be adjusted, and I'll show you on the next segment how we adjust all this, how we get this line right, and on and on and on. Let's try B1. Again, let's presume for the time being that they'll just, well, I can check it through here. There we go, our mudguard is here, just roughly. B1. Oops. Okay, so you can see here we need to do a bit more wheeling through here, and that again, like I mentioned before, that'll drop in, and on and on and on. So at this point, my friend, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm getting tired. I'm not 25 anymore, I wish I was. What I'm going to do next time, we're going to open this panel up, we're going to clean it, take all the markings off, we're going to clean it. It shouldn't take any more than 1 hour 1.5 hours to smooth that off, to be looking good, and possibly another 10-15 minutes to really touch it up to perfection. So all I'm saying, thank you for the patience, and thank you for having a look at what I do here, and we'll see you next time with the next segment, which will be finish this off and start the reverse curve. See you later.